Hey everyone, this is Ivy, your host of our Mentality podcast. Today, I will be speaking with a committed community leader, a seasoned technology professional dedicated to building a vibrant, inclusive, and a thriving Airdrie. A resident since 2007, she has consistently championed opportunities that strengthen the city and support families. Elected to City Council in 2021, she brings deep expertise in municipal governance, business development, and data and information technology, advising organizations from local enterprises to Fortune 500 companies. Her leadership is marked by strong advocacy for arts and culture, diversity and inclusion, affordable housing, and initiatives that enhance the quality of life of Edgeruarians. She also contributes regionally through her roles on the mid-sized City Mayor's Caucus, the Rocky View County, Airdrie Municipal Committee, and the Airdrie Housing Limited Board of Directors. Join me to welcome Mayor Heather Spearman.
How has it been?
Good.
Good?
Good. I actually just came from having lunch with former Mayor Peter Brown.
Oh, I
Yeah.
call him Uncle.
Well, that is correct. He has more hair than I've ever seen on his head, which is
Really?
hilarious. That was the first thing I said. I was like, "You have so much hair now." He's like, "I know."
Oh, I can't wait to see him. It's been a while.
Yeah,
It's been a
he's doing
while.
good. He's
Yeah?
doing really well. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I want you to just tell me, who is Heather?
Okay. Well, I'm 42 and I'm a mom of 3. I've lived in Airdrie since 2007, end of 2007. And we picked Airdrie for 2 reasons. One, it was way cheaper than Calgary with all the access to Calgary. But also, I grew up in Lethbridge, and when I was growing up, our city was like 55,000. And when we moved to Airdrie, it was also roughly 55,000. So for me, it was like, it felt like where I grew up, and I wanted that place for my kids.
Small town vibe.
Yeah, like you still had a sense of safety. And I think when I was younger, actually, it was like when I met my husband, I finally changed my mind. But I was on a trajectory, no kids. I was going to live in a big city. I had all these big plans, and life had other plans. So
There you go.
Yeah.
And then life had other plans, and you find yourself in the city.
indeed.
City Council. How did that happen? Because I think you were in tech before that.
Yes. So some years ago, the year was 2021, and COVID was still really heavy, and I was really frustrated. And I called my dad one night after I'd had a couple glasses of wine, and I was like, "Dad, I can't stand this anymore. I think I need to run for politics. I think I'm going to run for the province." And he was like, "Heather, you would hate that." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I just feel really frustrated. I feel like I need to help make
Yes,
change."
yes.
And he said, "Well, why don't you try running for municipal government? There's an election coming up in October. You might prefer that. It feels like you're making a lot more change, a lot more impact at the ground level." And I was like, "All right, fine, I'll give it a go." And I had some friends that I'd kind of made over COVID in the community, and they were very supportive of me and very helpful, and they kind of became my core campaign team. And really, it's kind of a toss-up because it's a council of 6 councillors and a mayor. And on the one hand, every election is an opportunity for a reset, like we saw in 2025. But at the time, we had so many well-loved incumbents on council, and there was really only one person leaving, that in my mind, I really was like, well, there's only one seat, so I need to run like there's only one seat. And I did. My campaign was hyper-focused. It was very virtual because most people still weren't getting together publicly yet. And we worked really hard, and I got elected to council. So I was really glad about it. And then, I really loved my experience on council, but I definitely was starting to feel the weight of 4 years of working full-time in a high-demand role, and working full-time as a mom, and working full-time in a part-time council role. But I was having to get to a point where I needed to make a decision. Did I just want to be on council part-time, or did I just want to work full-time? But I needed to make a decision. And then the opportunity to run for mayor came up, and I was like, well, I better look at this. So I met up with my dad once again, and I said, Dad, I'm thinking about running for mayor. And he was like, Heather, that's a terrible idea. I don't think this is the year to do it. There's a lot of things coming your way that are going to be really difficult. You should wait another term. And I was like, I'll think about that. And as you can see, I did not listen to him. And here I am.
Hear this.
Here I am. But no, I don't regret it. I love it. I love this job. And I really feel like there are people in the world who are built to do things. And I was spending a lot of my career kind of leading up to this moment, I think. So, am I the best mayor of all time? No. Am I learning? Yes. Am I trying to listen? Yes. Do I hope that people will make sure I'm never in an echo chamber? Because my greatest fear, and I say this a lot, my greatest fear is that people are just going to always tell me positive things and not keep it real with me. And I really respect people who keep it real and honest and do it with integrity. So as long as we keep doing that, I'm going to keep doing my best. But I really love this job. It's the best job, and it's the hardest job.
And I think it's one of the best ways you could give back to the community. And you talked about 2 questions I have for you. The first one, I will go back to the challenges. I mean, everybody sees the story and thinks it's all rosy. She's the mayor. She has the highest seat. No, there are challenges. In terms of the challenges, what have you seen what have you experienced that you never saw coming?
Wow, those are 2 questions in one. I think if we were to say challenges, I think the hardest thing really is if I could wave a magic wand and change one thing about our community, it would be having the gift to bring everybody up to speed on the history of why we make the decisions that we do. Because I think a lot of people sit here and go, well, how you've been in that seat for 8 months. Why is Main Street all crappy? Well, those decisions and contracts were signed well before I got into this position. And some of the decisions, like, why can't you stop growth? Well, some of those neighborhoods that are being built right now were approved 15 years ago. So if I could wave a magic wand, my biggest challenge, I think, I knew it, but I wish I could fix it, would be, I wish I could just help everybody understand. But I'm in it full time. Everyone else has a life and a family and a job, maybe more than one job that they're doing. They don't have time. Yes. They don't have time to do the job of a councillor or mayor or get educated to the level of a councillor or mayor. So it really is our job to try and bring people up to speed as the topics come up, but it can be really hard. Yes. So that would be one of the biggest challenges, I think, is just trying to help people understand, because there's some really heartbreaking decisions that we have to make. And often it's not an easy decision. It's making a choice between 2 imperfect options or 3 imperfect options, and which one is going to have the best impact in positive ways and the least impact in the negative ways. And then getting 7 people to agree that that's all the right answer. So that's hard. I think from a secondary piece to that question, the aspect around what was a surprise or what didn't I expect. We got into our seats as a team of relatively new people. I'm new to the mayor role. We had more than half of our council brand new. And I think a lot of us kind of got into the role, started to understand what things were happening, and then we pulled back the curtain and found out that a lot of the infrastructure that was needed for our community and the urgency behind it really had not been conveyed. So we were quite surprised. And now we are in a position where we are working relentlessly to make sure that infrastructure deficit, as we like to call it, is being right-sized. And not only from a growth perspective of, oh crap, how do we catch up? But how do we catch up, but think beyond the next 5 years and the next 10 years? Because we can't stop the growth. And I think a lot of people think we can. We cannot. Legally, we would get sued. Financially, it would cost us so much money. It would affect jobs here. We can't hit pause on that as a municipality. But we can be smarter about how we're planning forward. We don't just do knee-jerk fixes, Band-Aid solutions. We got to think, okay, what's our population trajectory 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 50 years from now? Because one of my favorite concepts is building a tree under which, sorry, I'm screwing it up, but planting the seeds of trees that you'll never sit under. And that's what this council really values, and you see it a lot. In the decisions that we make. So I'm really proud of that. Certainly it's a challenge, but it provides opportunity too.
Yes, amazing. Now, coming to community, we are growing. Airdrie is growing really, really fast, and we are growing in diverse ways.
Yes.
Diversity is growing. Inclusion is growing. I'm not going to ask you big council questions, but for a new person who's coming into Airdrie, that is like, okay, where do I start from? What is the team putting together to see that such people are supported? Because I feel if we catch it early, we're going to avoid things like homelessness. We're going to avoid things that affect the basic necessities of living in Airdrie. So I know we have quite a number of non-profits that help out on that fort, and I'm part of that community, so I'm really, really happy for the opportunity to do what we do.
Yes.
Yeah. So how is the city positioning itself to embrace diversity and inclusion in this growth that we are experiencing?
Yeah, great question. I think, I want to set things a little straight in that sometimes we have folks that come to the city and they say, well, how come you're not providing this service or that service or that service? And the reality is, cities are here to build buildings and build roads and make sure your toilet is flushing. But at the same time, there is a moral desire to build community, right? So when you have that diversity come into play, how do you embrace it? And how do you lead by example? And so one of the things that we do, from a council culture, I would say, is that we show up. We really show up. And I think it's beautiful to know that most events, you'll always have somebody from council. As long as we know about it, you'll have someone from council show up. And we have a little group chat text message thing where it's like, hey, can someone cover this? Or we have emails that go to our staff that they'll try and make sure someone shows up. So we just try to show up first and foremost. And I think sometimes just being present and understanding what these organizations are, who the people are that are coming to our community is half that battle. But the other piece of it, really where we put the pedal to the metal is from a social planning standpoint. We have an entire little portion of our staff that is dedicated to social planning. And within that comes things like FCSS funding. And so those dollars, for those that don't know, the province gives a certain amount of dollars to municipalities to put towards not-for-profits that are doing critical work for basic needs in a community. So the FCSS funding comes forward from the province, and then it is our job to match it at least 20%. Now, the city of Airdrie matches it significantly higher. Okay. Because there is just a huge funding gap for those things. So when we're talking about community links, for example, which is a huge foundational rock in Airdrie in terms of connecting people, whether they're newcomers and they want to find an organization to support them, whether they're looking for translation services, whether they're just looking for somewhere to live or childcare. Community Links does a great job of that. So we try to support organizations like that through funding, but also through partnerships and collaboration and events and things like that. So it's not so simple as to say, hey, we're going to put $1 million over here and start a service with staff to help newcomers who walk in the door. But what we can do is say, here is where you can go, and then make sure that we're funding the places that we say, here's where you can go.
Fantastic. Leadership-wise, I think you've done great justice. I'm enjoying myself. I want to move to wellness. So I was at a women event where you spoke, and you said something about, I had to take out my tear glands. Can you tell me about that story?
Oh, I mean, obviously I joke when I say it.
I know.
I'm sure some people actually think I'm serious when I say I had my tear ducts removed. But, you know, it's one of those things where as women, I think we bring a lot of strength to the table.
Yes.
Because historically speaking, in the way we're raised, and I mean, obviously times are changing, and we are trying to empower the men in our lives to be a lot more vulnerable and open and share. But I think women are pretty darn good at it. And so I think there's a difference, though, between being empathetic and kind and emotionally dialed in and then weaponizing emotion to manipulate a room or manipulate people. And so I don't know why I have such a beef with it, but I really find that people who weaponize emotion to get what they want, I feel like that is just a bad habit and a bad practice. So I try really hard to go the other route. So I really joke about having my tear ducts removed because I really try hard not to be too vastly emotional. Like I can, I think emotion's important and I think we're human and we need to connect, but I also want to be a stable and consistent and predictable leader in the community. So when we talk about wellness and when I talk about removing my tear ducts, it's really about just, we're all human, and there are going to be times, I'll be honest, there's been a couple times where I have cried at council, but it's always when the doors are closed and the camera's off, because sometimes there's things that just hit a breaking point, and this is a tough gig to be on council. Whether you're the mayor or a council member, we are making decisions that no matter how you slice it, people are going to be upset or people are going to be hurt. So, I certainly feel those things every day and I carry the weight of it. But I also try to keep a level head and I try to take it in context and go, you know what, we got to cut out the noise. There's still work to do. Honestly, I'm just like any other mom or parent in this community that you're sick or you're sad or something happens, but you still got to feed the kids. You still got to pay the bills. You still got to move things forward. You still got to mow the lawn. All those things still have to happen. And it's no different in our position. So.
Yes. So, and I think when it comes to mental health, just balancing that, I won't call it an equation, but just having that balance between when do I need to stop? When do I need to build that resilience? I need to keep going. I need to keep going because if I don't keep going, my kids are not going to have it together. You think you're the only one who is not having it together, but guess what? Everything you're experiencing, the kids are experiencing it in one way or the other.
100%.
So in terms of that wellness, I think having that fine balance between the emotion and resilience, building the resilience from the emotion. Things happen, but don't stay down. You still need to keep going. Acknowledge the issue. It's very important to acknowledge whatever the issues are, but you still need to kind of find your way to keep pivoting up. Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. I think you're saying this and I'm processing a moment I had with my 18-year-old recently. It was a couple months ago, right? You're kind of coming into the end of grade 12 and you want to make sure your grades are as high as they can be. And, we were having these conversations around like, listen, if you don't get your grades to here, you're probably not going to qualify for scholarships, which means you're going to probably have to pick up a second job this summer. You're going to have to work a lot harder, or you can work a lot harder now until the end of June, get through your diplomas. And really the conversation we had boiled down to choose your hard. Right? Like both are hard, but choose your hard.
Yes.
And those are the decisions we all make. And to your point, like you can get knocked down and it can be tough. And, I've had my share of health situations and I know a lot of people in our community have. And if you are fortunate enough to be able to get through that, usually you're pretty darn resilient.
Yes.
And then you go, okay, I made it through that. What else can I make it through? And it's that don't let it keep you down. Exactly as you said, like don't stay down there.
Yes.
Find your next purpose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Now, how do you balance it all?
I do not. No. And let's not be fake about it, because anybody who walks around acting like they've got it all figured out
Correct.
is a liar.
Yes.
No. If you see me doing great in an area of my life, chances are there's another part of my life that is doing
Suffering.
very badly. I say it with we all try to keep some semblance of balance, but I can tell you right now, I am working hard at my job. I'm working very hard at my job, and my kids are home for the summer. We've got them in a couple camps. We're fortunate to set that up. We got a kid going off to university in the fall. My husband's working full time. He's traveling for work. I've got aging parents. I've got brothers overseas. I've got all these things on the go. And I'm training for a half marathon. And so there's all these things going, and you go, okay, something's going to give. And I can tell you right now that we are not having this interview in my home, because the thing that is giving right now is my home, and I have not started gardening this year, and it is the third week of July. So yeah, no, you don't balance it all. And I think we all just need to own that we have to choose what we're prioritizing.
Yes.
Right now I'm prioritizing my family and my job.
Yes.
And somewhat my health. So you know what? That's good enough for me for right now. As long as everybody's happy in my house and rather functional, we're okay. But no, do not come over for a sleepover, and do not come to pick vegetables out of my garden. My garden last summer was amazing. So much fresh fruit and vegetables and flowers, and we spent lots of time in the backyard. No, I have not been in my backyard once this summer, and I'm hoping I will this Sunday. I'm hoping I have a day to garden, but it'll be July the 23rd or 4th or something. And that's okay. I'm fine with that. I'd rather be good at my job than good at my garden right now.
And I love the honesty. Honestly, I love that honesty, because a lot of people think, they have it all figured out together. No. So it's okay.
Yeah.
Prioritize and flow with your priorities.
Amazingly true. And I know that, especially in a leadership position, I'm sure people would want to hear oh yeah, no, I've got this, it's fine. Or we could just be real with each other and say, hey, you know what? Sometimes my kid doesn't wear deodorant and it's embarrassing.
Every teenager has those days. I had one with my daughter yesterday, and she's like, oh, Mom, myself and my friend, two of us yesterday, they went to camp, running around, and we were just feeding each other from our armpits. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, from all the sweat, all the sun. I'm like, well, you guys had fun, and that's what's most important. Next time, put one deodorant in your bag so you keep reapplying it. Well, yeah, that kind of reality and just being real is what we want to promote.
Yeah.
And also, an advice you have for somebody in the community who is thinking about stepping into a leadership role, but feels like, this is not for me?
I guess it would depend on the why they feel it's not for them. For some people, yeah, it really is not for you, and that's okay. Some people do not flourish in this sort of scenario. It can be hard. People can be mean. You need a thick skin. But at the same time, this job is really awesome. And so whether you're looking at stepping into a campaign support role, which is totally a great way to help shape your community from a policy and leadership standpoint, whether you want to run provincially or federally or locally, if you're passionate about your community, I think that is the number one thing. Nobody that ran in the last election was running because they hate it here. Everybody ran because they love it here, and they want to continue that vision of creating an incredible community. And that was one thing that I really loved about watching the campaigns of 2025, whether it was here in Airdrie or in other communities, was if you love it here, get involved.
Yes.
And you asked a question earlier about how can people new to our community find support? If I could offer this, it's not just about how do you come here and ask for help, but how do you come here and give back?
Yeah.
And so my number one recommendation to anybody who starts a business here or moves here is go volunteer. go give your time. It doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be gifts. Just go and give your time and meet new people. Do a neighborhood cleanup, or show up on a race day, or flip pancakes, or literally anything. And if you as a business or an individual new to town go, I'm here to serve, the way that comes back to you tenfold is just beyond anything I could ever like substantiate in a real data set. But it's incredible, and a lot of people talk about it as a social economy, and I think that's a really nice way to put it, because when we're going through scenarios like right now in the world where, good grief, the stuff coming up from the south of us with the tariffs and the things going on across the planet, things are tough.
Yeah.
We are in a recession, whether our provincial and federal leaders want to admit it or not. We are in a recession. People are feeling it at home, and that's where you know that it's real. So you can say it isn't happening, but mortgage payments and groceries and fuel prices are telling us all otherwise. So really, that social economy is the thing that keeps that fiber of a community going. So when I can't come and donate to your charity because I have higher bills to pay at home, I can still show up and I can high five the kids at a finish line, or, make food for someone. And if we can do that, we're going to be okay.
That connection is just the key to keeping the community knit together, where we are each other's, like, be your brother's keeper, basically. Just be your brother's keeper.
Yeah.
Right? Know your neighbors, knock on the door and just say, are you okay? Just checking in.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to the park. Do you want to come join? Or there is some event there. You can volunteer, show up. Showing up and connecting, I think, is one key thing that if as a community we continue to embrace, we're not doing badly.
Yep.
If we continue to embrace that, the sky is the limit for this community.
1,000,000%. And I think of, when you say go and check on your neighbor, do you know one of my favorite times in my adult life? This is going to sound nuts, but I promise I'm going somewhere with it. One of my favorite times in my adult life was actually in the early months of COVID lockdown. Not because I loved being locked down or having anybody, sick or struggling, but what I loved about it was how community really came together, and not even in one place at once because we couldn't be together.
Yeah.
But the way people would put signs in their window, or those people were leaving presents at each other's doors. Remember, people signed up for Wine Ninja and like Kid Ninja, and people were just random gifts and random acts of kindness. Like, I would say I haven't seen a community come together like during COVID. And there's a part of me that's like, oh man, how do we recreate that now and still have that sense of connection? Because right now, virtually, there are some pretty grouchy people out there. And, checking on your neighbors was something people did a lot of during COVID. And it was sort of an incredible time. And then out of COVID, people got really mentally unhealthy.
Correct.
And a lot of people just haven't bounced back from that. But those first couple months, it was a pretty magical thing to see humanity really come together and watch wildlife species come back that hadn't been around in decades. I don't know. I miss it a little bit.
We probably can do a citywide check on your neighbor campaign.
Yeah, maybe. That might be the way to do it. I'm sure that this clip will end up somewhere and people will be like, she's part of WEF and she wants to shut down the world and do 15-minute cities. I promise I don't. I just love the neighborliness of that time, because we were all struggling and we all just went, how do we lift each other up, even if it's from across the street in a window. Yeah.
Okay, that's beautiful. Now I have one last question. Airdrie, where do you see the city? What would you love to see, like, the city in 10 years from now?
10 years. 10 years from now, we have a hospital, we have a post-secondary, and we have enough schools for the kids that are here, which is a bold statement all around because I don't control any of those things as a mayor, but certainly it's where we're advocating and where we're hoping to see some growth. But truthfully, we've got 6 schools underway, and we're working hard on the healthcare piece. So we're hoping to see some news on that in the next few months. But those are the things that I really want to see, and just more jobs. Like, we are working very hard. We bought a big piece of land to dedicate 100% just to commercial and industrial growth. So between that and the advocacy we're doing, I'm really hoping to see some movement in some of those big things. We've got enough people that are building houses here. I'm not worried about attracting anyone here, but I'm certainly worried about giving kids places to play.
Correct.
And spaces to be safe and places to learn and places to get well. So if we can do that for the kids and the seniors and the families that are here, then I've done my job.
Yes, and if we can keep the jobs in, like we all travel to Calgary for work. We want to, like, I'm going to work 5 minutes away, 7 minutes away, and keep that cash in Airdrie. I think that's going to be a goal for the business community.
Heck yes.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I just want to say thank you for coming on Her Mentality. I hope you have enjoyed this session.
Yes,
Yeah?
absolutely. Great
Awesome.
questions and
Awesome.
great to hear your lens on a few things too.
Awesome.